Hey y'all, I'm Stacy with SouthernBite.com. Let me show you how to make my easy Christmas fudge. If you love this recipe, do me a favor, like the video and then subscribe to the channel. That way, every time we post great new content, you'll get a notification. This recipe is a classic in my family. As far back as I can remember, every holiday, my mom and I would be in the kitchen making this fudge. I was probably just barely tall enough to reach the counter, and I was always in charge of stirring. If you have an extra set of hands to make this, it sure is helpful, but I'm gonna show you how to make it if you're just doing it by yourself. To start, I've got 3 cups of white granulated sugar. I'm gonna turn my heat on to about medium here. Into this, I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of unsalted butter. That's 12 tablespoons. And I've got 1 5-ounce can, be sure that it's 5 ounces, of evaporated milk. Now this is not sweetened condensed milk, it's evaporated milk. What we're gonna do is we're gonna stir the heck out of this, heating it over medium heat until it starts to boil. Once it boils, we're gonna watch this. If you have an instant read thermometer, it's gonna be the best way to do this because there's a little science involved here. We wanna heat this sugar mixture till it gets to 235 degrees, which is about the soft ball stage. It's gonna take a lot of stirring, and sometimes this has a tendency to scorch, so you need to stand right here with it. Just be patient, stir, 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 until we get to that 235 degrees. All right, so our sugar mixture is just starting to bubble around the edges. Now is when we really need to start paying attention to this. You can see that I'm scraping the edges and just stirring the heck out of it. Just keep in mind, it's molten sugar. You don't want to splash it out, but we want to make sure that we're stirring this really well so that it doesn't scorch. I've got my instant read thermometer here. Again, the goal is to get 235 degrees. Any less than that, and we run the risk of the fudge not setting up correctly. Any more than that, and we run the risk of it being really tough, firm, and maybe even crystallized a little. All right, so I've got my instant read thermometer here. The important thing to keep in mind is that you want to make sure that you don't have your thermometer pressed to the bottom of your pan, but kind of in the middle of that mixture, and also measure in different spots. That way we ensure that we're getting right at 235 all the way across. All right, so we're right at 235 degrees. So what we're going to do is turn the heat off, just making sure that's all stirred in really well. Now we're going to add our other ingredients. The first thing that we're going to do is 1 12-ounce package of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Now keep in mind, with so few ingredients here, the quality of each of your ingredients is going to make a difference. If your budget is for Toll House, buy Toll House. It's going to work deliciously. I found some Ghirardelli on sale, so that's what I bought. You could also use a dark chocolate here. So we're going to stir that until it's nice and combined. You may have been told before that sometimes you can't make candy, especially like this, on a day when there's a little humidity. It's really all about cooking moisture out, and when there's a lot of moisture in the air, it's harder to cook the moisture out of the sugar mixture that you're making. So what you can do though to kind of offset that is to cook the temperature a little bit higher. So for me, when I'm making fudge, rather than aiming for that 235 temperature, if it's really humid or raining outside, I'll shoot for like 238. Now I'm adding 1 7-ounce container of marshmallow cream. Now this recipe may be familiar to you. You may have heard of it called Fantasy Fudge. It's the recipe that used to come on the back of one of these containers of marshmallow cream. The marshmallow cream is really the secret ingredient here. Again, 7 ounces, stir away. We're gonna get this all combined. The reason that the marshmallow cream works is because the traditional method of making fudge calls for you to heat sugar and butter and cocoa, then you let it cool, then you have to beat the heck out of it with a whisk. And I mean really beat the heck out of it, because the goal is to whip air into it so that it has a light texture. Marshmallow cream already has all of the air whipped into it, which is going to give us that light texture without doing all of that work. And because marshmallow cream has some corn syrup in it, from a science perspective, that corn syrup helps to prevent sugar crystallization so that we don't end up with grainy fudge. So I'm just going to keep stirring till we get all of this marshmallow cream melted. All right, we just about got all of that combined. And like I said before, if you have an extra set of hands in the kitchen, it sure is nice to have, because this is a lot of stirring. Let's talk about our pecans here for a second. Now, I'm a fudge purist. I like it just like this, but my family likes it with pecans. So what I've done here is I've got about a cup of chopped pecans that I'm going to add to the mix. I'm going to reserve a few of these just to sprinkle on the top. To give a little more flavor, I popped these in a 350-degree oven for 5 to 8 minutes. just to toast them just until they're fragrant to give them a little extra flavor. We're just going to pop those right in and just stir that to combine. You could also use things like walnuts if you wanted to, almonds, but we use a lot of pecans in our family. That's just kind of what the holidays are about. We have tons of recipes that call for pecans. All right, I've got a dish here, an 8x8 that I've sprayed with a little non-stick cooking spray. You could also coat this in butter. You could even take and make a little sling with some parchment paper that make getting it out a little bit easier. Metal or glass, either will work just fine. Then we're just gonna pour this right into our dish here. Making sure we scrape all that goodness out of our pot. And you kind of have to work pretty quickly here because this starts to set up pretty quickly. And then I'm just gonna spread that around just a little, but you can already see how the top of this is firming up. I'm gonna take some of these other pecans and just sprinkle them right over the top. And then we're gonna let this come to room temperature and firm up, and it's ready to go. All right, once this has come to room temperature, all you have to do is slice it and serve it, but that's it. Folks, you can find this full easy recipe and a peanut butter version by heading over to the website at southernbite.com and just search Easy Christmas Fudge. Y'all enjoy.